breaking news survey highlights some of the attitudes, concerns, and experiences within our state's LGBTQ+ community.
The state's LGBTQ Commission awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars to a team led by an assistant professor at the Edward R. Murrow College of Communication at Washington State University in Pullman. That team talked with nearly 7,000 LGBTQ+ people from across the state at community events and online last year and this past January. I talked with that assistant professor, Traci Gillig, about what sparked her interest in doing this survey and what the results revealed.
I've been living in Washington State for 5 years now, so I'm definitely part of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community here, and was looking to get more involved too. And so I thought this was a really great study that the commission was seeking to do with reaching folks across the state. And it's really a first of its kind study. There's been other research that's captured the experiences of queer folks in Washington, but this was looking to go beyond that and to be more comprehensive, reach more folks of all ages, and then also to focus in on communities that aren't reached as often in research contexts. So like rural folks in particular were one focus of the commission. We focused a lot on engaging with communities of color, and also wanted to reach adolescents who aren't often involved in research.
So what were some of the big takeaways?
Yes, so we found things that are going really well in Washington, and then some areas where the state environment can certainly be improved for LGBTQ plus folks. So in terms of positive findings, we saw that most participants in the survey reported that they personally benefited from the legal protections and the policies in the state of Washington that pertain to LGBTQ plus folks. So that was awesome. Most participants also perceived that these sort of legal protections and policies are improving the attitudes of the general public in Washington toward LGBTQ plus people. We saw also that participants really valued the community and the acceptance that they found here living in Washington, in addition to the legal protections. So all great things there. People had a lot of wonderful things to say about living in Washington and being out as a queer person. We also found some ongoing challenges, though, in multiple contexts. So, for example, in healthcare, we're still seeing challenges with access to medical care. Adolescents in particular reported difficulty accessing the sort of care that they need. Black and Indigenous participants as well reported having struggles with medical access. There was also quite a bit of reporting of discrimination in medical settings. Additionally, mental health across participants was a bit of a challenge. We saw pretty high rates of depressive symptoms and anxiety, in particular among certain groups that tend to be more marginalized among LGBTQ plus folks in general. We saw challenges in the workplace, high levels of workplace discrimination perceived by participants. And we also saw, for example, home ownership was a lot lower than the state averages. So ongoing challenges there. And we hope that this data is something that allows policymakers and others to see that these challenges remain in Washington and to act to improve the space for queer folks.
And that kind of leads to my next question, which was, when you sort of look at the results as a whole, what does that tell you in terms of the big picture?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that stuck out to me was that a lot of folks are having positive experiences in Washington overall. As I mentioned, there are still ongoing challenges in certain contexts and in particular with certain groups, but generally participants feel safe in Washington. And we looked and saw that after the US presidential election, that people actually tended to feel more safe in Washington. And we think that that was in response to the sorts of fear that was rising across the nation with what was going to happen next at the federal level for queer people. So we're seeing that Washington is a space that's perceived as being safe overall.
I know that you had mentioned that the results of this was presented to the state LGBTQ Commission a number of weeks ago in Olympia. What was the response like to that? Was there any response to some of the results from the commission?
Yes. So the commission, since we've been working hand in hand with them, they have seen and heard preliminary results along the way. So they were familiar with the findings leading into the presentation. I think that one thing that has been mentioned by a commissioner is that they were happy to see so many positive things and see that queer joy was also highlighted and captured in this beyond just disparities. The presentation also was broader than to the commission. So we had folks who were parts of different part of the state government, who were in industry and academia and other spaces across the state. And a lot of folks had really good questions. The survey was as comprehensive as we could possibly make it, while still making it feasible for people to take it and complete it and not take up, hours of folks' time. But of course, not everything could be captured in one survey. So it was also really helpful for us as a research team to hear the sorts of things that people are still interested in learning from research, and then also things that we can look at in the data that we have, but it wasn't something that we had prepared for that first presentation. That's more of the high level overview.
Got it. Knowing how government works, sometimes it can take a long time to lead to some change. And I know that you alluded to kind of what the end goal of this is, but what do you hope comes out of this survey now that the results have been found?
I hope that policymakers in particular and the commission, first and foremost, that they find the results to be really helpful in terms of their wanting to understand how to best move forward with improving Washington State for queer folks. I also hope that the findings are valuable to groups beyond those that are directly involved in federal government. So community organizations, others that are looking to advocate for themselves and their community. I hope that they're able to use these findings to show what their needs are and to be able to have evidence when they're asking for resources or funding or support or whatever it might be.
So the work of Traci's team is not done. She tells me there's a lot more data analysis that they want to do. They also want to share the findings through conferences and paper presentations and community meetings. If you're part of the LGBTQ plus community and you live here in Washington, you want to share your experience with the commission, you can send an email to address on your screen right there. It's contact@lgbtq.wa.gov. Again, contact@lgbtq.wa.gov to share your experience. So a lot more work to do, and the findings of this, which again is pretty groundbreaking, to have this type of survey done, could shape policy here in Washington to make the lives of LGBTQ plus people better.
Groundbreaking for sure, and a lot of what she had mentioned is quite disheartening, especially when it comes to things like discrimination, when seeking health care.
Yep.
All that stuff is very difficult, so it sounds like some real change is needed. And yeah, like you said, a lot of work is left to be done, for sure.
Access is important, yeah.